This is 3.4b notes, mean and standard deviation of frequency distributions. I titled it the same because it's technically a 3.4, but if you notice in example 1, we have the mean and the variance and the standard deviation. That's what we talked about last time. Now we're adding in median, mode, and mid-range with frequency distributions still. So we're dealing with frequency distributions. Now we're adding in median, mode, mid-range. You still have to be careful about your formulas, sample versus population. So you might want to have your 3.4a notes next to you because those formulas we're going to use, I'm not going to write them again, for mean, variance, and standard deviation. And then we'll talk about how to find median, mode, and mid-range. Okay, so starting with mean, variance, standard deviation, we need to fill out our table. So we had xf, x squared f, just like before. Okay. So we got to multiply. So we got 18, 63, 110, 156, 80, 90, and 57. Okay. Then to fill out x squared f, this is the one where you're going to want a calculator next to you. Square the first number, multiply by the frequency. Okay, so you get 108, 567, 1,210, 2,028, 1,350, 1,083. Okay. And we get our three sums, sum of f, sum of xf, and sum of x squared f. So sum of the frequencies, add up all the frequencies, it's 41. Remember, that's how many data points we have. We have 41 pieces of data separated into each part. So the sum of the total number, or sum of all of the data is xf, so that's 494. And finally, the sum of the squared data, x squared f, 6,346. Okay. Then, like I said before, using our old formulas, this is sample, so x bar. And we get 494 divided by 41, which is 12.0. You don't really need the 0.0, but that's just to remind you that we need to round to the nearest tenth. That's where 12 comes from. 12.0 is rounding to the nearest tenth. Variance, okay, make sure you have the correct symbol here. So that's s squared, because it's sample variance. So that's the squared, 6,346, minus the normal, 494, then squared, all over this frequency, 41, all over the frequency minus 1, because we have that correction factor for samples. Use a calculator, add up and divide and subtract. That's what it is. Divide and subtract the top. You should get a number, and then whatever you get, divide by 40, and you should get, rounding to the nearest tenth, 9.8. Then we get the sample standard deviation, which is s, which is the square root of variance, which is 3.1. Okay, that is what we did last time. Went through it really quick. Just a reminder of what we did last time. Okay, so when you see these three, we just went over those. There's no difference. The median, mode, and mid-range, we went over at the very first objective, 3.1, and we're going to use those formulas. So if you have 3.1 notes, get those out real quick. Okay, to find the median, okay, this is a tough one. This is the hardest one. To find the median, you need to find the depth. Okay, a lot of people want to just use the data points they're given, which is incorrect. Okay, that is not going to give you the median because you have to take into account the frequency. The frequency will change because if you imagine if we had 3 6s, then 7 9s, our data is actually 6 6 6 9 9 9 9 9 9 9 11 11 11 11, so on. Okay, that's the listing of the data. We've condensed it by listing frequencies, but to find the median, you would technically need to think about the entire full list. Okay, we don't want to write out that full list because there's 41 numbers. That's a long list to have to write out and then count in. So we can't count on this. That means we have to use the depth. The depth of the median. So D and then in parentheses X squiggly or X tilde. The depth is the total number of data points, which is the sum of F, plus 1 divided by 2. Okay, so it's the 21st data point. So notice we're following the same steps we did before with depth formula and median. Okay, so I need to figure out the 21st data point. So we have to put them in order and count out till the 21st number. Okay, the first 3 numbers are 6s. Okay, so the third number is 6. All on the side here I'm going to write out. So this is 1 to 3. Those are 6s. The next 7 numbers, so 4 to 10. In our list, the first 3, 1, 2, and 3 are 6s. 4 all the way up to the 10th number are 9s. Okay. The next numbers, we have 11 to 20. Those are all 11s. The next numbers, we have 12, 13. So that's 21 to 32. The next numbers, there's 6 15s, so that's the 33rd term to the 38th term. And then the last 3 numbers are 19. So that's the 39th term to the 41st term, which notice that's how many data points we have total. That's the end, okay, which is good. So this is the term numbers for each one. 1, 2, 3, 4 to 10, 11 to 20, and so on. So we want the 21st number. We got to find the 21st number. Okay, so the 21st number is in the 13s. So 13 is my median because that is the 21st number. Okay, that's tough for a lot of people to understand because they just want to do these data points. But you got to remember the list of the data is actually how many included. So the frequency matters for that. So we have 3 6s, then 7 9s, then 10 11s, then 12 13s, then 6 15s, and then 3 19s. That's the full list. So we got to think of the positions of each of those and break it down real quick to figure out what is the 21st number. In this case, it was a 13. That's my median. Mode is easy because that is still which one occurs the most. And in this case, the frequency is telling you how often each one occurs. That's the definition of frequency, how often it occurs. So the highest frequency, that number that relates is my mode. So 13. 13 has the highest frequency. Mid-range, we take the biggest one, we add the smallest one, and we divide by 2. So that one doesn't change much. 19 plus 6 divided by 2. So that's 25 divided by 2, which is 12.5. Boom. Got it. Okay, so that's our median, mode, and mid-range with frequency distributions. And by the way, finding the median using this formula is going to start getting important because as we find more and more medians throughout this year, they're going to get more and more complicated, like this. So make sure you understand that. Okay, the next says find the mean and the median of sample data. So this is sample data again. Pay attention, sample versus population. In this set of notes, I have 2 sampled pieces of data. Don't assume that's all you're going to deal with. Okay, so X, F, X times F. And then normally we would have X squared F, but really I don't need it because I'm not finding a variance or standard deviation, so I don't need to worry about the X squared thing. The first 3 columns are enough to find the mean and the median. So our X values, though, remember we need to find the average within this. So we add them up, divide by 2. So that would be 2 plus 6 is 8, divided by 2 is 4. 7 plus 11 is 18, divided by 2 is 9. 28 divided by 2 is 14. 38 divided by 2 is 19. And 48 divided by 2 is 24. Okay, so whenever you have a range of values, an interval or a range of values, find the middle. That's what we have to use, right? We can't use this whole range. We got to find the middle value. The frequencies are the ones that relate, so 5, 9, 11, 13, and 12, right? Those don't change. Then we just multiply. So I get 20, 81, 154, 247, 288. Use a calculator. Sum of f, sum of xf. Where we don't have the x squared f, so I'm not going to find that sum. So sum of f, add up all the frequency. I have a total of 50 data points. Sum of xf is the sum of all the data points, and that's 790. So my mean, sample mean is x bar, 790 divided by 50, which is 15.8. Don't have to round that one. It's exactly 15.8. Okay. The median, this is where it gets tough for a lot of people. So we're going to practice this one more time. The depth formula for the median is the total number of data points, which is the sum of your frequency, plus 1 divided by 2. 51 divided by 2 is the 25th term. Okay, remember it's the depth. It's telling you the position. Okay, so let's think about this. Dealing with the frequency, so that's term numbers 1 to 5. The first 5 numbers are within that interval. And we're going to just use the value here that we found, that middle, so 4. The first 5 terms are a 4. The next 9 terms are a 9. So that would be from 6 to 14. The next 11 terms are a 14. So that's term numbers 15 to 25. The next 13 numbers are a 19, right? 13, frequency of 13. So that's 26 to 38. And the last 12 numbers are a 24. So that's 39 to 50. And you should end, if you did it correct, end on that. So notice, each time, if you're confused by this, it's 1 to 5, because that's my first term. How many in the first? 1 to 5. Then the next one is 6 to, add the frequency to the last one, so 14. 15 to, add those two, and I get 25. 26 to, add those two, and I get 38. And 39 to, add those two, and you get 50. Okay, so I need to find, remember this means it's halfway between the 25th and the 26th terms. Okay, so I need the 25th term. My 25th term, according to this, is a 14. The 26th term, according to this, is a 19. So add them up, divided by 2, halfway in between them. 14 plus 19 divided by 2 is 16.5. So my median is 16.5. Okay, halfway between the 25th and 26th terms. The 25th term was a 14. The 26th term was a 19. So halfway between, 16.5. And there we have it. Okay, so that's adding in median, mode, and mid-range. Make sure you write your 3-sentence summary about that.